Okay, hi everybody. It's late Sunday night, and but I wanted to get my video up for you because I know many of you like to have the information, Monday morning. So I thought I'd try and get it done for you tonight. And so today we're going to be talking about assessment. Um, it's a big topic, and it's as big as our topic from last week, which was instructional technology, and so it's a really important um, piece for us as we move forward, looking at technology in the classroom. So let's talk about last week for just a few minutes. That first DQ went great. Um, I getting the feeling that when you saw that technology integration in action, um, it gave a lot of you kind of a light switch to saying, "Oh wow, it's really seamless. It's the learning objectives are being met, but um, those the times and places where they insert the technology is just a means to an end. Their learning objectives are still their learning objectives, whatever that may be. And so it's just the technology facilitates to some degree that learning. So a lot of times with technology, it has to do with engagement. And our students, as we've seen over these last few weeks, our students are different than they were before, and um, they their engagement is higher when they're able to do things that they enjoy, and sometimes using technology is one of those things. So that's a big portion of instructional technology and a good reason why to use it. Um, but never for tech's sake. I think we've already talked about that at least once. Um, so, there always needs to be an educational purpose, and sometimes it just in introducing student choice into the mix gives our students the ability to pick and choose the kinds of technology that they might want to use to show their learning or to show their understanding or to learn. So not every lesson has to be technology rich, but in today's world, the students have, at their fingertips so much of the time, one of the most powerful pieces of equipment known to man. I mean, that's mobile and personal. So if you can somehow incorporate the ability to have choice in the way they conduct their learning, you might see some really interesting effects of that. So thank you for that. And the discussion about the parents. Oh wait, hold on one sec. So no, I mean that's the one I just scored. The discussion about the hardware, was nice and robust. So thank you for that. So as we move forward into the assessment piece, I I won't change the assignment this time. I will just go ahead and make the assignment for this Module 5 still the paper that will fit right into your technology plan in that section. So, but I want to impress upon you the importance of this particular topic. I'm going to do a little bit of a PowerPoint right now, and then I'll post this so you can use it, but in addition to your research. But some key points about the assessment piece really have to do with understanding who your students are as learners, and then deepening the learning of the topic based on their needs, who they are, and your high expectations for them. So that brings us to differentiated instruction. And so I have a couple of links I'll be posting on the announcement page that I want you to go to and do some research about differentiated instruction. Really, really important topic. And I mean, our whole goal is to teach our individual children to the best of our ability. So I know we teach a class, we have 8th graders, or we have, 1st graders, but really we have classes of individual students. We have to pay attention to what their needs are. We do that by assessing and then planning based on that assessment. So that's what this particular piece is about, this module. So let me just go ahead and do a little bit of information about assessment. And I'm just going to I have this in my own Google presentation tool, so I'm just going to go through it a little bit. I want to introduce you to the 3 types of assessment. There's, diagnostic, which is the physical, which means, it's a assessment that you do like at the beginning of the school year, kind of see of your students. Then we have the formative assessments, which are, kind of regular checkups. They're regular and short little assessments that give you an insight into what the students are learning. And then the summative assessment is really assessment that you do at the end of a unit, at the end of a chapter, at the end of the year, that you don't intend to changing in your practice and your teaching based on the results. It's just, this is the results, this is where they're at. So it's like the autopsy, it's at the end of the learning sequence. So traditionally, assessments, you've got your teaching in the middle and your summative and standardized tests and diagnostic. All these assessments kind of are separate and in their own little entity, done at their own little time and stuff. So what we're looking for is we need everything to kind of work together based on our teaching to support our understanding of who the students are. So we use the classroom assessments, or the formative assessments, and the summative assessments to inform our practice and inform us about a lot of things. But they all have to work together to drive our teaching so that the students can learn. Here are some information about formative assessment. It's information that's used during, this is a key point, during the instructional sequence. And the reason we do formative assessment is so we can adjust our teaching. We can adjust our instruction to make sure we're meeting the needs of our students. Here's some key elements of formative assessment. You really, based on your learning goal, then you're working towards outcomes, giving some timely feedback, and a lot of times involving the students so that they can be part of that feedback sequence. The point about formative assessment is right here. You're continually trying to modify, right here, you're right there, modify your teaching to meet their needs. And the way you do that is through formative assessment. So here's some, the next few slides are going to just show you some types of formative assessments. They don't need to be formal, so it's not that it's not a formal assessment. It's not a paper pencil test, although it could be used. You could use paper pencil in the format, like an exit card. You might give the students a 3x5 card and ask them, just to reflect on what they learned that day, and then they give that to you on the way out. Or you may give them a 3x5 card and put 2 or 3 math problems up on the board and say, okay, do these 3. They do them on their 3x5 card, and they give it to you. That's a check-in. That's, okay, this is our learning. We learned, whatever, 3-digit subtraction today. Could they do it at the end? Where's their thinking? And so you can quickly shuffle through those cards and say, these kids get it, these kids don't. And the next day, you might manage your classroom a little differently, where you might take the kids who didn't get it and work with them in a small group. So it gives you that timely feedback that you need to move the students along in the chapter or in the, in the concept. So let's see. It's embedded in your teaching practice, and so it's something we do all the time, and we do it all the time. Just observation can be formative assessment. Watching and understanding where the students are at, how they're performing in your question and answer period, maybe. It's essential to what we do, and teachers do it, without even thinking about it a lot of times. We're just always taking data in. We're always looking at our classroom and listening and hearing the students and what they're saying and what their level of understanding is at any point. It's something that you do sometimes without thinking. So some of the things it's not a test. It's not giving grades. You don't take a grade on a formative assessment necessarily. So it's not separated from the teaching. It's completely embedded in your teaching. So here's some list of, maybe to give you some ideas. You can use formative assessment as bell work. So, kids come in, it's a Wednesday, and you might have a couple of questions up there from Tuesday's lesson. You might put kids in groups and be watching them and giving them a group task to work through. You could use formative assessment as homework. Just, you do an intense lesson or some kind of a direct instruction or some kind of concept you're trying to have the students understand. You may ask them to do some homework. Okay, but basically what you're doing is using your formative assessment in the middle of the instruction, right here, this last one, to check in and see what their level of understanding is. The key question, though, after you do the formative assessments, after you do the summative assessments, is what are you going to do? What instructional change are you going to make in order to affect the learning in the classroom? That's the question. Teachers have the power to change their instruction to meet the needs of the students, period. They have to, it's up to us to identify where the students are at in their thinking and then change accordingly to move them to the place that we want them to wind up in their understanding. The whole point is, how are we going to do that? Once we know, using formative assessment, then what are we going to do about it? That's the differentiation piece that I was talking about. That's where we can implement different strategies to meet the needs for different people, different students. So after you assess, these are some things that you can do through differentiated instruction. You can group your kids differently. You can, use menus and direct instruction. You could use small groups. You could use tiered lessons, which if you don't know what tiered lessons are, you can research that. Lots of different ways to differentiate your instruction to meet the needs of each individual student based on what you know about their learning. So that's just a quick, introduction to formative and summative assessment. This piece is all about formative assessment. Summative assessment is really summative. It's at the end of the chapter. It's a chapter test. It's something that tells you, okay, after you've monitored and changed your instruction up through this unit or this learning sequence, then the summative assessment tells you, okay, there we go. That's where they're at. And it's usually given at the end of a learning sequence. And you'll find out more about that as you research that topic. Okay? So I will post this up to the website and so that you can refer to this again. So So your assignments for for Module 5 are the DQs will still be the same. And really that first DQ talks about formative and summative assessment. It helps you identify what's what. Let me pull that back up. Here we go. 5. Yeah, it's the first one talks about formative and summative assessment. So it really gets you ready, really, to, I think, to write your paper. The second one talks about data and how you incorporate collecting data into your classroom and how it, affects you and assists you with your instructional strategies. So those DQs are going to stay the same. And then I have up here the Module 5 assignment. I have it right here. And it's going to be a paper, and I'll go ahead and let you write the paper this time. And so these areas here are what you're going to put into the paper. Basically, you're going to describe the differences between formative and summative assessment, and you're going to talk about different ways technology can help you in assessment. There's a lot of different ways technology can assist you, and kind of, always considering the pros and the cons about using technology in assessment. I mean, we don't always do anything. We don't always use technology. We don't never use technology in assessment. We just, there's always a balance that we play as teachers, deciding what's best to use when. So this question about should a teacher only use technology to assess student learning? I mean, I'll be interested to hear what you have to say about that. So anyways, it says support your rationale from your required readings from your peer-reviewed articles in GCU library. So I'm going to go there right now and show you how to do that, how to get into the library. Let's see, resources, library. It's going to ask you to log in, and so you just use your login, your student login. So I'm going to go here, find journal articles. And then I'm going to click education. And then click education research complete. Then it's going to ask you to log in. Okay, so we are wanting to research, we'll say formative assessment. And I'm going to say schools. So in the advanced search, and if the advanced search doesn't come up, click right here, advanced search. I want you to, this is what it means by peer reviewed. This is the key point. You want to check that box, okay? And because we don't want research older than 5 years. Let's see, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So I would say 9 to 2014. Whoopsie. So we've picked the date range and we've picked scholarly research. So we should basically only get those scholarly peer-reviewed articles. So I clicked search. It's thinking. So right here, 318 results. And so you just come down and you look at them and you think, okay, you look at the titles, assessment beliefs and practices of language teachers in primary education. So, but then looking closer, it looks like it's from a different country, and so you may not want that. Let's see. Formative assessment, a systematic and artistic process of instruction for supporting school and life learning. Okay, well, let's see. So you click on it, and you read the abstract. And if it sounds like it's going to be talking to you about something that, you know, a piece of the assessment information that you're thinking about, then you come here and you click on the full text, and it gets pops out as a pop out. And sometimes, you know, you open it up and it's not what you need, so you close it up and you go back to the results list here, and you go back and maybe refine your search, add different words into those search areas, and that kind of thing. So I'm waiting for the PDF to come up. There it is. So then it usually says the abstract again, and then, oh, and this is French, or it looks like French. So, but it does have a, it's translated into English. So anyways, that's how you find your articles. Okay, I had some questions about that. I'm going to go back to the results list. And so maybe I want to know, I want to refine it into, oops. I'm going to hit search again. And look, this gives me 116, but I get this search got saved too. While I'm in this session, it saves it. So I can go back to some of my searches if I remember coming across an article that I thought I would like. So anyways, I hope that's enough to go on, and that's great. So the last piece I want to tell you, and I will post this link to my announcement, is there's a video that I want you to watch, and it's a 4th grade math class. Now, I know there's a lot of you that are going to be hopefully working in high school level, but I want you to, it's a math class where she differentiates her math based on the student levels. And so I want you to watch it. It's about, I don't know, a 10-minute video. But it's really interesting. And I want you to listen for the way she supports her students at their level with the math concepts. Okay, it's really, really good. So I'll post that there. So I'd be interested to know, hear anything, any reaction, or you can refer to the video in any of your DQs. Okay. Anyways, I guess that's it. And I'm continuing to score. I'm getting caught up there with my scoring. And so if you have any questions, you know how to find me. Okay. And thanks a lot. You guys are awesome.